What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. But in order to make these videos, I do need to have quite a good desktop computer. And now that the videos are 4K, I notice that my computer right now isn't really up to par with today's standards, especially when working with Adobe Premiere. I noticed that the render times are quite long, so what I decided to do is purchase some new computer parts. So if anyone is interested in stuff like this, you will definitely like this because it's quite the modern standards right now. So the first thing I have, and this is all the stuff by the way, it's not that cheap, but then you got something for the next 5 years. So my tip is, if you're going to buy a new computer, don't buy one that's really too cheap. Buy one by doing some research to make sure that it will actually last you a few years and that it's actually cheaper in the long run. So this is the new case that I bought to fit every single object in there, and that's the old one running right there. That's the one I make all my videos on for you guys. Used to record in 180p, so regular HD, but now with 4K videos, it simply takes too much time to render and it limits my time to put all the videos on the channel. So now with this new setup, it should be going a lot quicker. So what I have here is the Ryzen AMD processor 3900X. It's one of the fastest on the market right now in terms of this budget. And you know, it's not a budget PC, but it's still you know, quality, price. It's one of the best on the market in my opinion. And that is a small processor, as you can see in the middle. That's it. That's actually the size of it, a little bigger, but that's it. So you get a very big box and it's a very small CPU processor. But because it's so small with a lot of cores in there, it turns quite hot. So you need a good fan to cool it down. So I got a Cooler Master fan right here. It actually came packaged with this one. This already has, I believe, a stock cooler. That's why the box is so big, as you can see right there. But you need a better one to be able to handle this CPU at the max speed. It simply becomes too hot, and the hotter the CPU gets, the less efficient it will work. So I got a bigger, better fan for that one. And also got a new motherboard. A lot of people who is watching this probably right now won't understand a lot of this, what a motherboard is, but basically the motherboard is called like this because that's where everything is plugged in. So the CPU, you press it on the motherboard, you attach it to it. This is, for example, the graphics card. You slide it in the motherboard as well. This one goes on top of the CPU, and you also have your RAM sticks. You also click them in the motherboard, and your hard drives, your SSD and stuff. You don't directly click them in, but you attach them with a wire, and you basically put the HDD hard drive disk or the SSD in the bottom of the box of this desktop case, for example, to efficiently put everything in there. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to put this PC together. Also, by the way, got an anti-static wristband. You attach this to, you know, to ground yourself basically. Sometimes when you touch a door or anything or another person, you get a static shock. And you might think, well, that's not a lot of electricity. But if you touch your motherboard with that static shock, it might actually damage the chips. So that's why you wear an anti-static wristband around your wrist. Ground yourself, for example, to a radiator like here, to make sure that you don't get those static shocks, and you ground yourself so you don't have any electricity in your fingertips, for example, because you're working with those. And this is just the graphics card. For example, the CPU. This one is very important for tasks like, you know, a lot of people like the game, for example. If you play a game, a lot of the frames per second are caused by the CPU, but also the render speed of your Premiere Pro, of your video editing program. And this will actually help you with higher resolution. So the higher resolution you work with, the more this GPU, graphics card accelerator, will actually work. So if you work on 1080p, just HD, which is not a lot of resolution, the CPU can handle the bulk of it. When you work in 4K, you also need a good graphics card to go with it, so you can actually work, together. They can actually work together to make the best possible scenario in terms of speed, render speed, and making sure your videos are saved and rendered quickly instead of now it's like an hour, which is way too long. But anyway, let's try to configure this in a good way in this desktop case. Look at that, we're getting somewhere. I have already put the motherboard in the case. The fan is on there, the CPU is under there. Already installed the hard drive I'm using, the SSD, so solid state drive, but an M2, so it's very small. It's beneath this heat sink right here. So technology has come a long way. Now it's time to install the graphics card. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, so I think I'm about halfway with the computer, but hey, I'm a bodybuilder still, so the workout needs to be done of the day. I've eaten 3 meals now, and I actually upped the carbs a little bit, obviously. Well, if you know, I did a mini cut before, so obviously the calories now are a bit higher compared to the mini cut. Otherwise, if I would continue doing the cut until the prep begins, the prep would essentially be like 30 weeks, and that's not what we want. My Olympia prep will be 20 weeks in total. So in between the mini cut, which I did about 2 weeks ago, I ended it. In between the mini cut and the prep, I want to have a good break of eating more food, but staying relatively leaner compared to my peak off season. So right now, I weigh around 124, and I'm creeping up the calories while remaining at the same weight to boost my metabolism, so I can actually have a healthy amount of food ready for me to go into the prep with. Otherwise, you might end the prep with a very low amount of food, so that's a very neat trick that you can actually apply, because your body, if you only increase the food by tiny amounts, won't really react in gaining weight immediately. It will actually sometimes stay stable when adding small amounts of food. And think about like 10 grams of rice here and there, or maybe 10 grams of oatmeal, and then do that for a week or a week and a half. Your weight will probably remain stable, then do another jump like that, and eventually your weight will go up, but then you already increase your calories to such an amount that you are already satisfied with the amount of food you eat, and you're pretty much maintaining your weight, at least your body fat percentage, which is what we want. We don't want to increase body fat in the off season or in any scenario when it's unnecessary, because I now experience it myself. I went pretty hard on this bulk, so normally I do a lean bulk. It was still lean bulk, but I added the calories and the carbs to quite high extends. Like for me, 500 to 600 grams of carbs. If I eat that consistently, I will gain weight. In terms of fat a little bit, I don't have a blessed metabolism in such that I can eat a whole lot of food, but one way to improve it a little bit is to increase it by little amounts over time, which is what a normal lean bulk would be. But because I want to improve myself a whole lot for the Olympia, I took a gamble, and I have to say my strength skyrocketed. My legs have improved a lot, which was my main goal. My back has improved, my whole physique has improved basically. But then I realized, well, I can only weigh 112 kilos on the Olympia stage anyway. So I was weighing at 129 kilograms, so I had to lose 17 kilograms before I would be able to step on stage. Now I know that I lose a lot of water weight in the first initial weeks, and the last week as well, where you drop the water and you manipulate salt and stuff. So I do know I can hit that weight, but if I go way too high, eventually you build muscle to such an extent you would have to lose some of it to make weight, and that's counterproductive. What I want to do is I want to make my physique perfect, so make the legs a bit bigger, make the upper body more streamlined, the lats a little bigger, the arms a bit bigger, especially the triceps, the back, but mostly the legs, and have that happen within that 112 kilo stage ready weight. So I'm really happy with how the progress has been going. And now slowly upping my calories, and I'll make a more dedicated video about how I exactly have been doing that. But I will also make a video about why mini cuts during a bulk is always important when you know that you will be bulking for a long time. Because just ask yourself, when you've done a bulk and you look in the mirror sometimes, you're like, well, I'm not really happy with what I look like, but everybody says you gotta eat to grow, so I'm just gonna keep going with this. But at the same time, you're kind of unhappy with how you look. Even though you started with the right intentions, you thought you were going to lean bulk, but sometimes you go out to eat or have a pizza here and there, and then all of a sudden you realize that you went a little bit too far, but at the same time you don't want to drop the calories because then you know you're not gaining muscle. So what do you do then? Then you do a mini cut. But I'll explain that in a separate video. And as you guys know, I'm making the computer, so one of the main reasons why sometimes I can't upload as frequently is because the computer I had simply wasn't keeping up with my productivity. So the problem, for example, if I record this video, the files I record right now, I put on my computer, I then have to edit the video. That takes about, maybe a few hours, 2 to 3 hours in total, because also with the voiceover. But the thing is, usually I'm done at the end of the day. So then I still have to render for another hour, and then I have to upload it, add all the cards at the top, social media, stuff like that. And that sometimes takes too long for me to still finish it on the same day. So then I go to sleep. As I render it, I wake up. And since I live in the Netherlands, I don't want to upload it in the morning where I live, because then you guys mostly are from America, from the USA, when I watch my YouTube analytics. So I know that most of people watching don't live in the Netherlands. They actually live abroad, overseas. So I then purposely upload the videos later in the day, usually around 7, 8 p.m. my time. So it's around 1 or 2 p.m. for most of the viewers. So then I know that most of the people are actually, when getting a notification, they can actually watch it instead of still being in bed, for example. So that's the reason why I upload it a little later. But sometimes you're then busy the next day making plans or coaching plans or face-to-face consultations, stuff like that. And on top of that, I work out in most evenings. So sometimes I do have the intention to upload it on that day within a time frame, but sometimes, depending on how that day goes, it might actually take a lot longer than I intend. But all of that can be avoided if I simply, when I push render, it'll be done within 10 minutes. I can still, answer a few emails in between and then upload it right away without having to skip a whole day before uploading it again. So I know it's a small thing, but it's the devil is in the details here, because when you have a lot of things to do in the day, just like bodybuilding, sometimes it's the details that matter the most in terms of making progress. And I want to make a lot of progress. Right here, you see my YouTube count, 463,000. Always having this on to be motivated. I want to get this to 500,000 this year at least. So it would be awesome if you guys, whenever you watch a video of mine, comment on it, like it. I'll do my very best to always answer the comments, which I'm going to do a lot more often now. I did that a lot more in the beginning, because then I could literally answer every single comment on the video. But ever since I hit a few videos that went over the millions of views, then you get so many notifications, it's kind of difficult to keep up. Combining with the Instagram DMs, which I all try to answer, and a lot of emails. Sometimes responding to the comments on the YouTube videos is going to be one of the later priorities, and sometimes I don't even get to it. But now I put it in my planning, so whenever I post a video the next day where people have been able to watch it, I'll check out the comments and I'll answer them, as many as possible. So I'll do my best for that. So whenever you do comment or ask a question, you either have an opportunity that I will answer directly or answer it in a Q&A video later on. And also, if you can like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It will really help the algorithm of YouTube as well to put me in the recommended videos for a lot of people from the target group that watch my channel. So that will help a lot. This is my livelihood, it's my job, bodybuilding is my passion, and I've been very fortunate to be able to make it so. So really appreciate all the support, all the people watching, all the incredible messages I get from you that motivates me in turn to keep doing this. And this, guys, is just the beginning. I view this all as the foundation of what we will accomplish together. Because winning the Olympia, that's my goal. But then it only starts. Because I want to win the Olympia, and from then out, I will do a lot more exciting things having to do with classic bodybuilding. Anyway, it's time to do an arm workout with my dad. And by the way, wearing the new fiery red golden era ringer tank top. We have these in a few different colors, but this is the newest one. So if you're interested, check it out on vintagegenetics.com. And again, for everybody visiting that website, thank you a whole lot, because this is also what my family, my dad, my mother, my brother, we all are involved in this every single day, shipping out the packages, signing the shirts, signing the posters. It's just a whole lot of fun. It's hard work, but at the same time it's rewarding as well. So thanks a lot for the support, but let's train. Alright, so it was an arm day, just going to show you very briefly what kind of exercises I did on this day. So the arm day is always the last day before a rest day, so I do want to do quite a lot of volume. So most exercises were 4 sets, and every exercise had at least a working set or 2 afterwards. So first a row push down, very straightforward, then this very interesting bar with the hammer grip for the skull crushers, the French press, and the close grip bench grip superset. Then a unilateral exercise for the long head of the triceps. After having done the triceps, you always like to do the biceps, because it's an arm day. Every time you now perform a bicep exercise, the tricep is stretched, which causes a lot more blood to flow in there. Again, using this hammer grip bar to do hammer curls with feels very good for sure. And what we did then is to finish off the arms is some concentration curls, which I always like for the bicep peak. And I also included some side delts because, hey, the side delts can never really get too big. Okay, so after the arm day, until about 2 a.m. I kept working on the computer. And this morning it's around, well, let's say 11:30, I actually finished it. And then I tested it out. And it's right here. As you can see, it's working, up and running, and I'm very happy because honestly, I did not expect it to work. Well, I just did not expect it to work perfectly right away. As you can see, I've never had RGB fans. They came stock with the case, so why not? Pretty cool. As you can see, the motherboard right there. Everything is working, so pretty cool for sure. And I didn't put the case on yet, the tempered glass case, because I thought something would be, well, might have been need to be adjusted. So, but that isn't the case though. I'm just gonna put the case back on and adjust the BIOS and have some fun editing way quicker for you guys. Alright, having my breakfast finally at about 1 p.m. So I took this pretty much as fasted cardio. I also did some housework in between. So I'm just having a breakfast now. It's a rest day anyway. So I like to spread out the meals a bit more. So what we have is oatmeal. And the oatmeal I had was from My Muesli. It's a company based in Germany that makes all kinds of different muesli and oatmeal mixes, and here there's some chia seeds in there, some dried prunes and stuff like that to make it a little more tasty. In terms of calories and macros, almost no different to regular oatmeal. We also put in 60 grams of whey isolate Gladiator Pro designed by myself. 91 grams of protein per 100 grams. Check it out on becomegladiator.com. And we also have 15 grams of peanut butter, natural peanut butter, and 15 grams of 70% dark chocolate from Calabout. So yeah, this is going to be very good. And also, of course, the kiwi, guys, the kiwi. Alright guys, to finish this video off, I just want to show you the 3 diets I've went through from left to right. It's my peak off-season lean bulking diet without the additions in between, like the cheats here and there. Well, not really cheats, but you know, eating foods you feel like eating at that time. So this is the base plan. On top of this, I ate a little bit more. This is the mini cut plan. So right here in the middle, which I ate very strictly. And this is the plan I'm following right now. So if you're just going to look at the macros here, and the reason why I'm showing this is a lot of people appreciated it the last time I showed it, because normally people don't like to show their exact diets, but I do. Some of it is in Dutch, but I'll tell you the most important thing. So basically this is the diet I was eating. It says leg/back, but I ended up eating this every single day. As you can see, it's about 4,700 calories, 500 grams of carbs, and above 100 grams of fat, and 370 grams of protein. Now, this is just a base plan. It probably went 100 grams of carbs higher than this on some days. So, on average, I think I would hit around 5,000 calories. Now, that brought me to a conditioning that I didn't really like. It worked very well for a long time to bring up my legs, bring up my other muscle groups, and my strength especially. But then I noticed, well, my shape just isn't there anymore. So then I switched to a mini cut. So this is all training day plans, by the way. So on a rest day, I always have a little bit less carbs. But here the big difference is I'm having less carbs and more fats. So this is to improve insulin sensitivity again. And insulin sensitivity basically means that the food you eat is less likely to be stored as fat and more likely to be driven towards muscle growth as we are resistance training. So just to give you an example of the first meal, here I would have an equivalent of 150 grams of oatmeal in meal number 1, and here it's just 100 grams. For the rest of the meals, I have 30 grams of rice, and here I have 60 grams of rice in each meal, uncooked. And for example, post-workout here, it is 150 grams of uncooked rice, and here it's only 60 grams. So I made sure to lower the carbs quite a lot in the mini cut. I ended up following it for about 5 to 6 weeks, and I lost, around 5 kilograms, and my shape improved and my strength was maintained or improved even. So this is the training day plan right now. So it's in between these two. And apologies, by the way, if the monitor is showing up funny, because, recording a monitor is always a bit tricky. But anyway, now I'm at around 4,440 calories, and this time I do follow it strictly. So this is the lean bulking plan I'm having now, weighing around 124 kilos, 5 kilos less than my peak off-season weight of 129. But now I look better. I'm almost at the same amount of calories and carbs, and I'm able to improve my strength a whole lot more. So the breakfast has been increased. These meals compared to the peak off-season plan are the same grams. As you can see, 60 grams of rice, but the post-workout meal is a bit less carbs. Now I do recommend putting most of your carbs in a post-workout meal. In a breakfast and post-workout meal, and the rest of the meals are just in between. But I also, in my personal preference, in my diets, I also like to have a lot of carbs in the last meal of the day, together with a wholesome protein source like Nordic salmon. I put pineapple there as well. That's ananas, pineapple, is that what it means? 200 grams, to make sure that the last big meal is absorbed nicely as well. It's just my preference. A lot of people I advise to just eat protein and fat meal like eggs or an omelet or stuff like that, and then you can add the pineapple for extra digestive enzymes. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. to see the difference in between, you know, with the progress I've made. Obviously, this is the mini cut. This is the plan I'm following now. In between, I slowly went up from this to this. So not immediately. Pretty much took 2 to 3 weeks to get to this again. And my weight is actually maintaining. So I reached 124 kilos here, pretty much. And I'm still maintaining it on this plan. Which means I'm growing. No, not really growing, but I mean my metabolism is increasing at the same weight. I'm able to, you know, handle more food at the same weight, and that is very beneficial for when you're starting a contest prep in about a month. And I mentioned to you earlier that it was beneficial because if you cut down your carbs before a contest prep only to, you know, start the contest prep in a better physique, then you have to lower the carbs even more to get an even, you know, larger effect of fat loss. And that doesn't work. So if you know that you're still, you know, too, you know, by your body composition simply isn't where it needs to be, and you know you have a prep later, make sure to correct it early on. As I said, I'll make a separate video about this. And I'm wearing my blue light blocking glasses. You can see these glasses aren't transparent totally. They're a bit yellowish, blocking blue light, as they are called, blue light blocking glasses. Since it's late at night now, well, it's about 11:30 p.m. So I always wear these when it's dark outside. When normally, when you're outside, the sky is not blue. You want to actually block the blue with the glasses from any screen coming at you, so your body can actually get ready for sleep. And also the screen itself is not entirely white. It's a bit yellow as well, blocking the blue light there. Also, using the app F.LUX, so F-Lux. Really recommend using that. Anyway, guys, I hope you learned a little bit from this video. A whole lot more content is coming. This video has been edited on the new computer. Still love it very much. And I just want to thank you for the support, because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to make an investment like this and keep improving myself. So really planning on posting at least 2 to 3 times a week. If I don't, let me know. And also at the same time, let me know what kind of videos you want to see. I still have a list of literally 100 different ideas that I want to film, and I'm going to make time for it. Also, in about 1.5 months, I'll be done totally with my university. So it's been taking quite long, but that's what happens when you have to make priorities in between your business, doing the Olympia and school. Stuff simply can't happen at the same time, so you gotta do it in order. So as you guys know, I decided to do the Olympia and all the other contests first, focus on the business, make a livelihood out of it, and now we're really moving forward into the future, buying a new house, getting a kid in about 7 weeks actually already. Wow. And having finished school. So that's a lot of things happening which make me, which allows me to make a lot more content for you guys. Anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.